Anchor is a fantastic platform for podcasting. It's so simple. It's remarkable. Even I could do it, and it's free distribution, free recording, easy, simple, elegant to use framework, great tools. If you're going to pick one podcasting forum, platform, it should definitely be Anchor. I highly recommend it.
The flaw in AI research, sure is. So how could Steve Jobs, who is not an engineer and did not have a strong technical background, lead a company whose technology transformed the world? You know, the iPhone, the iPad, the Mac. How could he do that? How could he have world-beating design? Because he understood the principles of design and function and use case, and he was able to bring different disciplines together to serve function and use technology to serve those functions. So the great use cases throughout history, and increasingly so as the world becomes more complex, are interdisciplinary. So to use technology well, you have to understand the use cases, which means that you have to understand other disciplines, and you have to understand interdisciplinary, how things affect each other, because there's so much crossover. Blockchain, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology. I mean, all these competing technologies relate to each other and affect each other in different ways in different disciplines. So if you're too narrow, now all that is kind of a way of backdrop of talking about artificial intelligence. If you look at the Twitter feeds, as I do, and research articles of most AI researchers, it's so technical, and it's so, even I, who am in the field of AI, have a hard time understanding some of it. And I could just imagine lay people. And I think there's a lack of real-world utilization, and I would say interdisciplinary work. I mean, it's so technical, some of this AI research, that it seems to be removed from the real world. It just seems like so much basic science and so little applied science. And I realize that everything starts off as applied, as basic science, and then moves over time to applied science. But if the larger world can't really understand well the basic science, then it makes it more difficult to apply it. And I think that if the leading minds in AI are too constricted, too narrow in their focus, then we can't use it for great purposes because it's not being designed that way. I mean, I'm not saying that there can't be carryover later, but science and math and engineering are the fundamentals of technology, but they have to be infused with, design, and they have to be infused with, user experience, motivation, psychology, all these disciplines that are strictly outside of, math and science. They have to come together. I mean, all technologies are part science and part art. I mean, Steve Jobs showed that in Apple, that they were not just scientific engineering creations, they were theater, they were art, they were performance. And if you take a look at the papers and the work in AI right now, it's way too dry, it's way too technical, and it's hard to understand because it's not really applied and discussed in human terms.